Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be I folded like a cheap deck chair while trying to get out of friend zone. So, this particular emailer, he's been stuck in friend zone for 8 months now, 9 months. And so he finally walked away, went no contact for about 8 months after he got nowhere. She came back, but she's been able to intimidate him because anybody that's been stuck in friend zone, especially when you're acting effeminate and girly and not masculine and attractive, a woman's going to form an opinion of you. And it's hard to shift things back to the romantic direction once you've got stuck in friend zone. It's kind of where this guy is. And part of his problem is instead of being courageous and brave, he's kind of meek and a little cowardly when it comes to standing up for himself and what he wants. And so you'll notice as we go through the email that the girl comes back, her interest starts to bubble up a little bit. But when she gets together with him in person, he goes for the hug. He doesn't really stand up for what he wants because he's just too afraid to get rejected. And then he ends up getting rejected anyways. So it's a good example of what you fear, you attract, and what you look at disappears. And so this is a hard thing because I remember when I was young and didn't have the confidence that I had now. It's like I can remember feelings of fear, and it felt like thousands of little needles shooting me in the arms, like my whole body, as I'm talking to somebody I was interested in or thinking about making a move, or just something simple like making eye contact and doing the kiss test. I remember the first few times I started doing that, and then I noticed the girls looking at my lips too. Internally, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit. Because then you see that, and you're like, oh, wow, now I need to make the move. Now I need to go for the kiss. But what if she rejects me? And so there's like the should I not? You're like shoulding all over yourself. And that's kind of where this particular guy is at. You can tell he's kind of watched too many Disney movies because his way of expressing his feelings or his interest, it's like something you see in a movie that a dork wrote that never got laid, never got the girl in high school. And so they have this fantasy of how things are. And so in the movies, you recite a poem and the girl just melts all over him and then they live happily ever after. But you do that in real life and then you don't make a move, she's just going to think you're a bitch. So let's see what we can do to help this guy get out of friend zone. He says, hello, coach. I hope you're doing well. Last Sunday, I recited this poem, Half Lovers by Khalil Gibran, from memory to a girl I had been hanging out with for about 9 months, in which I made 2 moves that were rejected halfway through, so I walked away for 8 months. We met casually through social groups 2 times within that period, and my behavior was really feeling kind of neutral towards her. 1 week later, after the last time we met, or they bumped into each other, she sent me a voice memo pointing out how my energy felt negative and advised me to take actions to prevent myself from getting into a worse situation because she thinks something bad is happening in my life. I was like, what the fuck? He says, after 2 days, I called her. You shouldn't have called her. And said, I'm not interested in being a platonic friend. I will not suppress myself sexually around you. I'm a full package. You can't have half and leave half. The ball is in your court, she acknowledged. A month later, she wrote to me, if there was any chance I would like to meet up. He says, I replied, bring your sexy ass to the crib Saturday at 20, so what would that be? 8 o'clock, I guess? 8 p.m. I want to see, because he puts military time here, so I've got to think about it. I want to see you in red lingerie. She never answered for 3 weeks because her interest is low, her respect is low. And because the idea is if you want to be romantic, you can't act platonic. And as I talk about in 7 Principles Get an X Back, the strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. You want sex and romance? She says, hey, how about friendship and blue balls? And when you're in the place that this guy's at, they know each other and it never went anywhere. He took her out on dates and just didn't get anywhere with her. So you're not going to meet her out. You're not going to pick her up. You're not going to go out on dates. The furthest that you're going to be willing to travel is the distance that it takes to go from wherever you are in your house to your front door to let her in. So he says, on a sunny Sunday, while I'm rolling a joint in the kitchen, in peace, around 2 p.m., I hear the doorbell. Actually, it'd be 3 p.m. 1500 is 3 p.m., right? I hear the doorbell. 1300 is 1. Yeah, 3 p.m. I hear the doorbell. It was her. I hugged her, kissed her on the cheek, and thought she submitted. Dude, you kissed her on the fucking cheek? It's like, come on, dude. You go and you kiss her on the lips. When you kiss her in the cheek, you're bitching out. You're not being courageous and brave. You're being cowardly. You told her you weren't interested in friendship, and then she comes to your door unexpectedly and you kiss her on the cheek. You submitted. She didn't submit. You submitted. And I told her, so, do you have something red underneath? And she replied, no, but I got a red van. She wanted to show me the van she got to convert to a camper. As we spoke about that project in the past, pre the rejection era, so she thought that would make me happy. Well, I would have said, so instead of the red lingerie, you just got your birthday suit under there. It's like, that's acceptable. Why don't you come on in? Let's have a drink. She can show you the van, but I wouldn't go anywhere with her. You got to have her come to you. You want her to submit to you. You're interested in sex and romance. She shows up unannounced. Basically put herself in your orbit, showing up like that. But she's trying to see if you're kind of a bitch. And of course you open the door and you kiss her on the cheek like a friend because you're too scared to go for the kiss. At that point, she was already in the apartment, and my good heart prevented me, I should say not your good heart, your cowardly heart, prevented me from confronting her about what we previously agreed on. Well, this is what women do. They test your strength. You told her you wanted her to show up in red lingerie. She shows up with a red van instead. And instead of kissing her on the lips and saying, hey, cutie, why don't you come on in? You bitch out and kiss her on the cheek. It shows you're not brave enough. Women love confidence. You didn't even have the confidence to go for a kiss. Because if you'd have gone for the kiss and she'd have turned her head and given you the cheek, it was like, well, what are your intentions? Are you here for sex and romance? Or are you here because you're trying to be pals and buddies? And she says, oh, I just want to be a friend. It's like, well, I'm going to close this door. And if you're interested in sex and romance, you can knock on it again. But if you just want to be friends, then I'm going to close the door so you can go hang out with somebody that's okay with just being friends, because I'm not. So it'll be fun to see what you're going to do. We're going to close the door. Let her knock on it and go, hey, you. I think you should get it over with and kiss me right now. But, again, he's not being courageous and brave. He's being cowardly. And I can understand this is like the wall of fear that he's trying to punch through. And I know what it's like. I've been there. We all are there at some point in our lives. Some of us guys get over it sooner than others. And this guy is yet to get over it. So I went out with her to a green high ground area with a metal tower that goes up high beyond the trees. Up there, after an intellectual talk, I never seemed to be able to shift it to useful, fun, nonsense talk. Well, again, you told her you were interested in sex and romance, and she shows up at your house. And instead of acting like a lover, you continue acting like a friend. So you're friend-zoning yourself through your actions because you're acting like a bitch. That's reality. And then instead of her staying at your castle, you get in her car because you told her to show up in red lingerie. She shows up with a red van. And instead of you keeping it focused on sex and romance, you get in her car and drive away and basically make her the man. And then you go hang out like buddies. That's on you. 7 Principles Get an X-Back says you don't take them out on dates. You don't do any of that stuff. But you're not following it because you're too scared to. I told her, would you like to hear something? Let me guess. He's going to read her the poem. She said yes, so I recited the poem. She seemed a bit different after. I hope she will get the message from it. It's like, dude, you're acting like a chick. You're thinking you're going to read this poem because you saw something like that in a movie, and then the girl knew exactly what you were trying to do. That's why she looked at you like, what? Why is he reading me a poem? Instead of just saying, well, what's the password? She's like, I don't know. It was like, well, you got to kiss me. It's like, well, I'm not kissing you. It was like, well, okay, well, you're not coming inside. I was very clear. I'm interested in sex and romance. I'm not interested in being pals. I can understand she kind of caught him a little off guard because she just showed up unannounced, but that's typically what they do. She came over to your place, had the possibility in her mind that she would hook up with you, and instead you bitched out and started acting like the gay male girlfriend instead. And that's on you. I fully acknowledge my mistakes done on that last forced hangout, which I should have declined altogether. No, you should have just invited her in and told her, like, again, reiterated the terms. If you open the door and she's there, it's like, so? Obviously, you're here to kiss me, so why don't you get it over with? Stop standing there in my doorway and kiss me passionately, and let's make love. And she says, no, I just want to show you my van. It's like, well, I'm interested in making love, and you can show me your van afterwards. But he didn't have the balls to do it. He was too scared. He was scared he's going to stay stuck in friend zone. So what did he do? He acted like the gay male girlfriend the whole time. And guess what? He stayed stuck in friend zone. He thought just by vomiting a cheesy-ass poem to her that she's going to go, oh, my God, I know what to do now. Let me just pull my panties off and let's get to it. You got to be the man. You got to be the leader, dude. Jump up and down really hard. Maybe your balls will finally drop. I'm 38, never had a relationship prior to being asked out by this girl who's 34. All I had was like 26 one-night stands and a pay-to-play between the age of 25 to 36. What does that mean? A pay-to-play? You had a steady hooker for 11 years? I came across your work after the rejection as I was looking online and how to optimally move forward. I listened to the audiobook 4 times after the rejection. Was it the rejection 9 months ago or this one? We're not really sure because he doesn't say. But at the end of the day, he folded like a cheap deck chair, and that's why you didn't get out of friend zone. You didn't have the balls to stand up for yourself and what you want. The girl shows up on a silver platter, and all you had to do was grab her and kiss her like she was yours, and then invite her inside, and then have your way with her. But instead, you acted like a gay male girlfriend, and so you're still stuck in friend zone. So there's nothing you can really do at this point. I wouldn't call her. I wouldn't text her. If she reaches out, say, are you coming over with that red lingerie on? And she says, no, I just wanted to see how you're doing, or I wanted to ask you about the camper conversion. It's like, well, I'm happy to discuss the camper conversion if you show up in your red lingerie and after we make love. She says, well, I'm not looking for that. I already told you I just want to be a friend. It's like, well, I already told you I'm not interested in that. So if you want my opinion on the camper conversion or whatever it is that she's asking for, it's like, you got to show up in the red lingerie. Those are my terms, babe. Take it or leave it. I'd love to have you. Love to see you. Let me know if you change your mind. But I wouldn't call her. I wouldn't text her. I wouldn't reach out to her in any way. Follow what's in 7 Principles you can expect. She might show up in a few weeks. But, I mean, the way you acted when you were with her, you acted like a robot and like a friend again. This is why you didn't get to the promised land, because you didn't have the balls to go for it. So that's on you. So if you've got a question or a challenge and you want to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com. Click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our paying members only content, in the video description of this video, there are links to join on Spotify or YouTube, or you can join on the website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab. When you get there, you can do a 7-day free trial so you can check out all the free content that you get, the free members, or I should say the members only content. You can do a monthly plan or an annual plan with a 7-day free trial. And so on a weekly basis, I publish 5 additional paid video coaching newsletters similar to this one per week for only paying members. We have a weekly 3% Man Study Group podcast, a weekly Mastering Yourself Study Group podcast, and many other videos. Like I said, there's hundreds of videos and the paying members only now. So you can join on whatever platform you prefer. Obviously, with our website, you can get the 7-day free trial, and you can get a 25% discount for choosing an annual plan after the end of the 7-day free trial. So if you subscribe on the website, you'll consume the content on the website. If you subscribe on YouTube, you'll consume it there. There are videos that are on the website and Spotify that are not on YouTube, just because YouTube is kind of like G-rated and PG-rated. The Karens are kind of running amok at YouTube. So again, understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab and do a 7-day free trial so you can check out what content we get that you get for your money. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.